Our story starts on a tiny island in the Minch between Harris and Skye. We are not very certain if the inhabitants regarded themselves as Herich or Skianich, but in the good old days they would certainly have had the benefit of a good poetry education. Because it was a tiny island, there were not many inhabitants, and life revolved around the big house, where stayed the laird, Echan Morriston, with his second wife, Christabella, and she was definitely second best. A very jealous woman who could not cope with having around her very much younger and very much prettier stepdaughter. We find Christabella in a consultation, which she did numerous times a day, with her mirror.
Ready, we're on. Get the volley. You really are the most beautiful woman in the world. In fact, it seems no time at all since you were Gala Princess in Flockton, and you've looked after yourself, my dear. Mind you, the importation of all the potions that I need, it is so difficult with Kalma, excuse me. It's more and more difficult, but one does have to keep trying. They just don't understand in Ullapool how important these packages are. The chap in the Calmac office had the cheek to suggest I used seaweed. I mean, really, on my fair skin. And I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't for that little brat of Becky's. She thinks she's so pretty, with all her hoity-toity ways. Neck ban, that's what they call her. I think she was born in a snowdrift the last time there were Arctic conditions here. Anyway, I can just content myself with looking in a mirror and reminding myself just how beautiful I am. Scahan, scahan, eravala. Who has a boicha, Santella?
Sneachd.
What? For crying out loud. What did you say?
Sneachd.
I won't have it. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm so sorry, but really, that's just not good enough. Honestly. I will not hear it. You tell lies. Everyone knows it's me. I won't allow it. That brat can no longer stay anywhere near me. Let me think. I have a plan. I'll get James to take her on a little Calmac trip. If that doesn't lose her or finish her off, I'll make sure he does. That little trollop will vanish from the island forever.
We now go forward a few days and find ourselves on board Calmac's finest MV Loch Aumsambee, whenever, and in the company of the Gilly, Seamus, and the lovely Sneachd. They're having a little picnic in the sunshine, and Sneachd is so excited at having a trip away from the island.
Wasn't the old bat, Christabella, so kind in arranging this little outing for us? It's been so long since I've been away, and you were so clever in finding out if and when the boat was sailing.
Well, my dear, you don't pay attention to the timetable. It's more a case of the tide table. You know, the Mull people have taken our boat again. The Loch Embassy only sails when the tide is right for the pier, and that kind of guesswork keeps islanders on their toes. But the phone app is a must for all the islanders.
I'm just so sorry that Cook gave us this picnic. Well, it was very good of her, but I was looking forward to Calmac's fish and chips. Where will the ferry take us? Are we going to Ullapool?
Well, that's one of the delights of a Calmac trip. You're never quite sure where you'll end up. And I'm afraid, my dear, you'll never know where you'll end up. But the weather is fine, so we might well end up in Ullapool.
This is just so exciting. And you've got your motorbike. We can go wherever we want.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. There's not a lot of scope for a motorbike on the island.
Maybe we could try the North Coast 500. But I believe the roads and hotels are all very busy. Oh, it's just so exciting.
Just look on it as a sort of mystery tour. I'll take care of you and lose you in the middle of Sutherland.
The Loch Almsonby does in fact make it to Ullapool, and our intrepid pair set off for the North Coast 500. But Seamus, I'm afraid, is not to be trusted and deviates until they leave the coastline and make for the lonely moors of Sutherland, where Seamus plans to desert his passenger.
Where are all the tourists? We don't seem to have passed another car in at least half an hour.
I think we've left them all behind. Look at the lovely scenery, all these ruined houses and abandoned townships.
It does seem very lonely. Where are all the people?
Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Oh, you mean the tourists? Don't worry, my dear. Just round the corner is a lovely hotel. We have half board. Just let me drop you here. I'll go ahead and prepare a surprise for your arrival, and you can walk the last few hundred yards.
I dare say I'd quite like a little walk. My ton is feeling quite tender.
Sneachd dismounts and Seamus roars off into the sunset.
Well, I'd better start walking. I'm quite ready for a wee strupag, or maybe something a wee bit stronger.
Sneachd sets off along the road and round the corner and round the next one and round the next one until she's beginning to feel a bit weary, and eventually she sits on a stone at the side of the road and looks around her. There are no cars passing her, and as far as she can see, there are only ruins of houses from a long time ago. She thinks on the clearances, and a song comes to her mind.
Now Mary na Grania could find a vine, Buvoia Chanari Ambraia Hulhi. Na Hushakans na Smjori Hokio for a shine. Snaflura na palin lemfache gainch. O mareva, nuera chinok, amida keranari, leman ranes kyo.
Well, having made herself thoroughly miserable, Sneachd decides to consult her Airbnb app on her phone. But Culkeen doesn't seem to produce many addresses. She contemplates another verse of Aria Culkeen, but decides it won't raise her spirits. Again, she scans the horizon. And then,
Oh my goodness, there's another house away over there. But I'm sure there's smoke coming from the chimney. There must be someone living there.
and she breaks into a run across the moor, ignoring ditches and puddles, stumbling on the clumps of heather until, you've guessed it, she reaches a lovely little cottage with roses growing round the door. Well, it isn't exactly small, as you know how many it has to accommodate. Seachd, Sneachd.
What a charming little cottage. Well, it's not too little. I wonder how many people live here.
Seachd, Sneachd.
Yeah.
Well, I'd better knock on the door and find out.
Seachd,
Seachd.
Sneachd.
Hallo? Mating va? Vesker ma? Vil dunjastai? Well, people here don't lock their doors, so I'll just push it open. Oh, what a lovely little room. And there's a peat fire in the hearth. I knew I smelt it outside. And I haven't smelt a peat fire since Christabella got central heating put into the castle. Now, how many chairs are there?
Seachd, Sneachd.
And how many plates?
Seachd,
Yeah.
Sneachd.
Filled with the remains of porridge in them. How many mugs?
Seachd, Sneachd.
They're not very tidy people who live here. Well, I've seen the butt. Now I'll look at the ben. Well, this is the bedroom. How many beds?
Seachd,
Yeah.
And not one of them made. Rather untidy people. I wonder how many people live here.
Seachd,
Okay, I'll count the beds. Un, ja, tri, ceher, coig, shia, seach. There must be seach people in this house.
Hooray!
I wonder when they'll come back. Well, if I do a bit of tidying, cleaning, washing and polishing, they'll be so pleased that maybe they'll let me stay.
And so Sneachd set to, and in no time at all, she had the butt and the ben looking so comfy and clean. But after her long walk and her ordeal and her hard work, she was exhausted. So she put a couple of extra peats on the fire, and going through to the little bedroom, she chose one of the 7 beds and fell fast asleep. Well, up on the moor, we find Seachd, 7 brothers striding across the heather. They all have coloured hats on their heads. The co-op must have been having a sale. Each carries a caschaum or peat cutter. On their backs they have baskets brimming with peats, and as ever, they are singing as they go.
Hi ho, Vavonya Shinshaw.
Ishina shine ho, fatsin la, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho.
Hi ho, Mahashapranakstra.
Shashina root. A hoot, hey ho, hey ho.
Hi ho, von Vanya Shinshaw.
Ishina Shankut Fatanwa.
Hi ho,
Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. Mahashit Bronus Truer. Shint and Hutjacher. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho.
Shall show the smoke coming from the chimney. I didn't think the fire would last the day. Aren't we lucky? Is Misha happy, Mackay? Sona?
Smoke, you say, Donna? By my reckoning, the composition of the peats from our quality of soil on these here moors should not continue for the 8.625 hours that we've been absent from the homestead. Or at very least, we should be charging more to the Bordnamonia. I'm also getting rather concerned about the peat levels of extraction releasing so much carbon into this atmosphere. I'll have a think about that most certainly. Oh, and sorry, Ismisha Doc Mackay, BSc MD, or Dr. Mackay to you.
I do wish that you would speak in words of one syllable, especially in the English. They call me Dopey Mackay. I can't think why. You can call me Gorach.
Well, I just know these latest peats are so bad for my hay fever. Just standing here sets me off. Gav Malishkan, Strosser, Sheshin and Tenim Orison, Sneezy Mackay, Strosser.
Do I have to introduce myself? Why should all the Glasgow Isla Gaelic choir know my name? You know what they will be like. Well, if I have to, I'm bashful, Mackay. Juge.
Can we just get inside the house? I don't know why we have to have all this palaver. I'm tired, I'm starving, and I'm grumpy Mackay, Granach. And after tea, I want to watch EastEnders on the telly.
Oh, no, Granach. It's Eorpa tonight. There'll be no EastEnders at all.
Will someone please waken me when we've got all this sorted out? I'm Cadillach Mackay, sleepy. We're in danger of missing Carrie McNeil on CBs.
Let's get inside then. Hi-ho, one Vanya Hafshin Shaw.
Bishina Shaiho Fatsin La Hi-ho, hi-ho, hi-ho.
Hi-ho, hi-ho, Mahash Pranastra.
Shina Ruta Huta Hoo. Hey ho, hey ho, hey ho.
Hi ho, von Vanya Shinshaw.
Ishina Shaiho Fatin La Hi-ho.
Hi-ho, 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 hi-ho. My heart is brown through. The shit can hook your hook. Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Well, the song caught up on them then, but they did move inside the house, and all the brothers crowded in to their little tiny room.
Well, Cúr Shalagorum, I've never seen this room look like this. It's fantastic.
I think you're right. There certainly are a few imponderables to be explained.
Imponderables. That's 5 syllables. And I can count. Please, words of one syllable only.
Well, whoever's been here, they've certainly used the pledge.
I hate to think of someone else being in here. Oh, and I hope it's not somebody from the Glasgow Isla.
Who's been sitting in my chair? Oh, sorry, wrong story. Well, I don't like the arrangement of the furniture. And I can see out the window. Maybe someone can see in.
Can we just hurry up? I'm ready for my bed.
And Cattlach leads the way from the butt to the ben, and Sneachd Ban is found sitting up in bed, amazed.
Dear Shin, there's someone in my bed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just so tired after my hike across the moor and after my housework here. Is this your house? Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you all live here? How many of there are you? Oh, yes, I remember. Seachd.
And well, my dear, what is the peroration which is attached to you?
Well, what he means is, what are you called?
My name is Sneachd. And how many of you are you? Oh yeah, Seachd.
Ja,
Scherkner, Akin.
It's Misha Sneachd. And who are you all?
Well, we've actually been through all that.
Oh, come on, well, let me guess then.
What about me?
Well, you're always smiling. You must be happy.
I'm unconvinced by that. That was an easy deduction. What about me?
Well, you think you're so clever. You must be Dog.
And what about me?
Well, let me see. You're trying to keep yourself in the background. Are you bashful? Oh, sorry about the furniture polish. You're obviously sneezy.
oh, what about me?
The one fast asleep on the bed, you must be sleepy. You see, I'm paying attention to this story. Now, who's left? Dopey. Now, that's never you.
Excuse me.
And as for you, Grumpy, I can see a wee glimmer of a smile. Well, is that us done and dusted? Just one thing. What do y'all do during the day? What are your little pickaxes for? Have they found diamonds in Sutherland? Or are you building a spaceport?
It's funny you should ask. We have another little song in answer. Re tog 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 of on your fat and la.
Re tug 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 se sin das far.
Re an opper sin.
Day and read some cold and a gun.
Ach, I'm found.
Ach, een faun.
A tokel monje sound.
Re tog 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 of on your fat and la.
Re tug 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 se sin das far.
Re an opper sin.
Day and read some cold and a gun.
Ach, I'm found.
Ach, een faun.
A tokel monje.
Now that's all well and good. You know who we are, but what convoluted expedition has resulted in your arrival at our homestead?
What Doc means is, how did he get here? Surely not by Calmac and McBrains.
Well, it's a long story. But if you let me make your tea, and I'll tell you while we eat, and perhaps you will let me stay here if I promise to look after your lovely little house and have your tea ready when you come home from the Peats.
And so Sneachd and the Mackays came to an arrangement, and Doc was persuaded not to draw up a formal contract. And even if the circumstances were a little unusual, they all hoped to live happily ever after. But now and again, even with such good company, Sneachd was a little lonely.
Ik kreun serum, bietchin is voor een dood is kjul. Nooit ik kreun sen aan vroeger ook nog. Bi essen a kaket hagge vakemorst is doch een tarig op naga gadna kille sjofnas behessen chinan bo on maner fisk brodaren fyrt. Ik brun serium bietchin is hot for en botes kjul. Nooit ik brun sen am froter och mor. Vi essen a kaket hagge vakemorst is doch een tarig op haknoga gadna hele sjofras behessen chinan bo on maner fisk brodaren
Would that not tear at your heartstrings? Well, meanwhile, back at the castle, old Bella was still looking in her mirror at least 4 or 5 times a day, and the mirror played along with it. However, one day the mirror had had enough, and in a rash moment gave that dangerous answer.
I've been getting lessons from Rachel McPherson, so hopefully I'll get the right answer this time. Gahan Iravala, Boyka, Santala.
Sneachd.
Ah! That's not right! I can't believe it! Snake is dead!
You silly old bat! She's staying happily in the wilds of Sutherland with a rather unconventional living arrangement.
Ah! The trash! I took that little expression from Fiona Ray. She's too nice to use anything nastier. Well, I think this calls for a little trip to Sutherland, if Calmac will allow. I'll have to sort this out myself. If you want a job done properly, you do it yourself.
And Christabella got her secretary to start the process of booking her on the ferry to Ullapool. And to cut a long story short, under dead of night, well, the ferry was late. She arrived in Sutherland. She found a rather inadequate establishment not too far from where she had found out that Sneachd was staying with how many men? We go now to the local pub, the Culkeen Arms, where Sneachd and the Mackays are enjoying a convivial little evening. There are lots of singers from the Cóisir Real Glasgow. Don't ask why. So a great ceilidh is on the go. Everyone is so enjoying themselves. Even Grumpy cheers up after a wee dram. And they don't notice sitting in the corner a shadowy figure wrapped in a huge cloak. You understand it is now the dead of winter and a big cloak was not out of place. But the shadowy figure is still muttering to him, or rather herself.
Just look how happy she is. The cheek, the nerve. And I must say this living arrangement is very peculiar. How many are there of them? And don't they look funny with those silly little hats? The cook must have had a sale. That one looks so happy, and that one so grumpy. And one of them's falling asleep. And one of them looks really stupid. And there's one hanging about in the background, and there's one spreading germs everywhere. And as for the one in the specs, he thinks he's clever. I've done my homework. I've got a cunning little plan inside this little bottle potion, and I'm going to slip it into Madam's drink when she's not looking. Then she will be going for a very long sleep.
Sneachd, I often hear you singing about the house. You would definitely be good enough to sing with the Glasgow Isla.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not as good as that. They're the best.
Well, Gavoran and we'll judge.
Gavoran.
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 Okay, Maha. Ida vatten na hodoela. Ida vatten na hodoela. Ida vatten na hodoela.
Now's my chance while she's caterwauling, and the rest of them are staring at her with doughy eyes. There. Little does she know, I'll soon be rid of her forever.
Anchikunju non chikumarach smurchiku ichet gurtrugatami.
Hey!
Hey!
Well, that has made me quite thirsty. Well, that's better. I was really thirsty. Whoa, it's quite a powerful whiskey. I think it's going straight to my head. I'm feeling quite sleepy. I think I'm gonna lie down.
Is there a doctor in the house? Where is a doctor? A doctor!
Gorach, clear the way, medic coming through. Let me have a look. I'm not quite sure on this one. I think she's going to need some rest. We'll have to carry her home, I think, and let her lie quietly on the bed. Sona, you take the feet. Duich, Straherstach, you come this side. You don't sneeze on her. Gorach, come on, that's the wrong person you're trying to pick up. Come here. And Granach, you take that side and I'll take the head, okay? Gently does it now. 1, 2, 3.
And so the Mackays carried their beloved Sneachd home and laid her carefully on her bed, taking turns to sit with her, waiting for that moment when she would open her eyes again. And now 6 months have passed, and still Sneachd lies asleep on her bed. The 7 never leave her on her own, and just believe that one day she will come back to them.
Well, I must say, even I, Sona, I'm finding this hard going. Are we ever going to get our lovely Sneachd back?
Well, Sona, after 6 months of observation, I can confirm she's in a deep, deep sleep, and I fear there's only one thing that will awaken her from that said sleep.
And what would that be? We've tried playing recordings of the Glasgow Isla to cheer her up. We've even tried to shock her with recordings of the GG, but nothing seems to work.
I know, Gorach. I think the only thing that will rouse our beautiful Sneachd is true love itself.
You, Doc, Talking of true love?
No, I discuss it in a purely clinical way. I mean, I think we just maybe will have to keep looking after her until that point comes that her prince will come.
Prince? Here? Don't be silly. The only person coming here today is the wealthy landlord looking for 6 months' rent.
You'll never guess where this is going.
The Dutch landlord, Van der Valk. We need to have a bit of a tidy up. Snackbang would not approve of the way we keep this place.
Oh, for goodness sake, he's arrived early.
Well, he'll just have to find us as we are.
The door is opened to reveal a rather dishy-looking young man dressed in tweeds and a deerstalker. Yes, it is becoming rather obvious.
Goedemiddag, good afternoon. Yeah, feest gemaakt. I wanted to call on the tenants myself to get to know you a little. You are de Broche Mackay. And how many of you are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's good. You all live here without any disputes, any debate, any fisticuffs?
Oh, of course not, sir. Never fisticuffs, never even a bad word. And can I, whilst you're here, introduce my brothers to you?
Oh, no, not that again.
There's the one with the smile.
That's me.
Sona. Then there's the one with the frown.
Oh, well, I don't...
The one asleep in the chair. Come on, wake up, you. The one that sneezed all over you, straw stuck. The one who doesn't know how to do a Sudoku, let alone spell one. Gorach. The one that's quite overcome with meeting you quite at all.
Yes, George.
George. And myself, as you would gather from the specs at least, I am the brains behind this operation, and I am Doc. Lovely to meet you.
Well, you seem to have these names off very well.
Oh, don't worry. We've had plenty of practice.
Now, there's just one little thing. I do have to be careful in these days of staycations and people returning to rural living that none of my tenants are subletting. Now, I know it looks just a little bit cramped in here anyway with such a fine family of 7. But you haven't found a little extra corner for a lodger.
Well, there's just Snackbang, but she doesn't pay rent. And actually, at the moment, she can't, because she's asleep.
Dora!
Oh, what is this? I must see the aged person living in this house. Where is she?
And so they took the handsome landlord to see Snackbang, so beautiful, lying asleep on her bed. And can you guess what happened next? We moved Ben the Hoose.
Oh, I have never seen a more beautiful creature. She's quite the loveliest form I'd have ever seen. Her hair is a golden frame for her tiny, pretty features. Her skin is fairer and softer than silk. Her form is so lovely, lying peacefully.
Oh, just get on with it, will you? Kiss her!
My angel.
Oh, I've had such a wonderful dream, and now my prince has come to waken me.
Excuse me, he's only the rent collector.
No, I am the prince, and I have come to declare my love for you and to ask you to be my wife.
Hooray! Well, you thought we'd never get there, didn't you? But here we are, and although we can't show you the happy couple together, you can picture it yourselves, and you know that they all lived happily ever after. Hi ho, shinakate. Hi ho, shinakate. Hi ho, shinakate. Snachband alle fosig shinakate.
I ought to be furious, Shinakete. I ought to be furious, ach Shinakete. Buchorgo vi ferige ach Shinakete. Snach bandole fosek Shinakete.
I knew all along, ach Shinakete, happy submersion, ach Shinakete. I knew all along, ach Shinakete, Snachband alle fos, ach Shinakete.
So she got a man, Akshinakete, Urisha Agunya, Akshinakete. So she got a man, Akshinakete, Nakandola Force, Akshinakete.
Happy like me, Shinakete. My son of mommy, Shinakete. Happy like me, Shinakete. Snack bundle of force, Shinakete.
Time now for bed, Shinakete. Time now for bed, Shinakete. An arsenal let be, Shinakete. Shake banner Laura, Fosse, Shinakete.
Kustunya show, Shinakete. Too many here, Shinakete. Kustunya show, Shinakete. Snackband over force, Shinakete.
Photos again, Shinakete, Jala verriest, Shinakete, photos again, Shinakete, Snachband alle fosig, Shinakete.
Hato, Shinakete. What's going on? Shinakete. Hato, Shinakete. Snachband alle fos, Shinakete.
There's too many flowers. Shinakete, because fluichan. Shinakete, there's too many flowers. Shinakete, Snackbandala boss, Shinakete.
Oh, I'm the best man, Shinakete. I'm the best man, Shinakete. Sme doing a sjar, Shinakete. Snack bandolas for Shinakete.
Nahishe haboy Shinakate, but isn't she lovely? Shinakate, but isn't she lovely? Shinakate, Schneck bandola forsuk Shinakate.
And I am so happy, Shinakete, nach mische tollichte Shinakete. I am so happy, Shinakete, Schneckband all the forces, Shinakete. Hi ho,
Hi ho,
Shinakate, hi ho,
Shinakete,
Shinakate,
hi
hi
ho,
ho, Shinakate, bandola forsuk
Glasgow Isla at their best. Shinakate.
Excellent, brilliant, well done.
And of course to the producer and director and whoever else was.
Absolutely, a big hand for Christine.